Hello everybody, Bella Fairies here, and I'm doing a video response to Ravenflower's shadow work video. So right away, disclaimer, I'll be talking about some pretty heavy stuff as she did in hers. So if you have a kind of past or any trauma where you could be triggered into you have a panic attack, anxiety attack, anything of that nature you're not ready to deal with, then I'll give you a few seconds to turn off this video. This video is not for you. So I'll give you a second. The Tazo Passion tea. I took a bath with my Nag Chamba soap I got from my haul video that you'll see. Check out my haul video. I prepared myself for this video. So because even though I do talk about this, I am more comfortable now because I did put in the work for it. It still hurts and it's still painful. And you still feel a little ick when you're done. And that's okay. And it's okay to cry. But don't let it rule you. Don't let it take over. Get it out the way and move on. Okay, so let's see. Where do I want to start? I've had to do shadow work on what happened to me. We'll get to that in just a second. About a year and a half ago, I had a cousin that hasn't been around about 10 years, moved back down here to Florida. She lives in Tennessee, or she did. Well, she's going back now, thank God. She's better up there. Well, anyways, she moves in with my dad to come back down here. And when I tell you the story, you'll understand why. And so when that happened, I had to deal with this stuff. I've had to face it. I've had to forgive him. I don't have to talk to him, but I have forgiven him. And I had to put in over a year of dealing with this. And I think that is what led me to my path. So, okay. So when I was about 3, it's the first time I remember my dad messing with me. He sexually molested me. 3, I believe. I was really small. I remember the first time I remember we were laying together on the couch at night. I think my mom was at work. All I remember is that he was watching a horror movie. It was a scary movie on TV. I remember it was like a monster in a bathtub. He had horns. And then all of a sudden it showed the drain and there was blood going down the drain. And my dad started messing with me. I'm not going into any gory details. And so this happened off and on until I was 13 years old. And my mom, I love my mom. We have a great relationship now. She's my best friend. She doesn't know about my path, but I can talk to her about anything else. But at that moment in my life, when I was young, until I was about 10 when they got divorced, she was not faithful very much to my father, so she'd be in and out a lot. She never left us. Like, she didn't leave us to him. Like, we would go with her on the weekends. You know how custody things go. But when those times would happen is when it would get bad, when he would molest me the most. And so this happened until I was 13. They got divorced when I was 10, and so they got really bad at that point because we did have to live with him for about 6 months when the school year was out until the summer that we moved to where my mom was living with her new husband. She had got remarried in that time, and it got really bad. And so when I was 13, I had finally had enough, and I finally kicked at him and stuff, and I fought. And I think he got to the point he never did it again. Now people ask, well, why didn't you say anything? Well, when he would do this, he'd be like, don't tell anybody. No one will ever believe you. He's like, this is what it says I can do in the Bible. The Bible says I can do this. Like, this isn't wrong. So that's why people don't say anything. And when it's someone like your father, especially when they're supposed to protect you and they're supposed to be your daddy, it's really bad. you don't know how. You don't know how to say something. And so anyways, he finally stopped. And then, let's see. Not only did I have that to deal with, as far as shadow work goes, I'm having to fix myself on the inside. I had a brother who, when I was between 4 and 5, who he shot himself with a gun. He was talking to his girlfriend on the phone. He lived in Alabama with his mom, because he's my half brother, my dad's son, and a different mom. And he was after school one day when they lived in Alabama for the school year. And he was talking to his girlfriend, and he was like, tell me you love me, tell me you love me. And they were just joking. She's like, no, I'm not going to say that. And his stepdad had left the gun cabinet open. He had got the gun out, his revolver, playing with it. He's like, you don't tell me you love me, I'm going to shoot myself. And the gun was loaded, and he shot himself. Now, his stepfather should have known better. He's a sheriff. He should have locked that gun up. But my brother was 14. He knew better than to play with guns. But the reason I never got to get to his funeral, because I was so young, they didn't let us go. So I never had that closure with him. I've never seen his gravesite. And I have memories of him. I remember the first time I ever had head lice, us sitting at a kitchen table, and they're going through our heads, picking out all those little nits or eggs, at the same time. We're sitting there laughing about it. And so I've always had that I've never gotten to say goodbye. I remember the night they called my mom just screaming, And so, yeah, there's that. And then 15 comes around, and my brother under the one that died was my oldest brother. So my second oldest brother, he was the one right above me. He's my half brother as well. He moved in with my dad's house after I had, fought back with my dad. And I got wild. I started doing a lot of drugs. I did acid with my brother. I started smoking pot. I was still in high school and until I was 17. But when I was 17, I started doing meth. I got really bad into meth. I did ecstasy a lot. I didn't realize at the time I was just shoving down all that pain. I wasn't talking about it. I was just shoving it down. I got addicted to meth really bad. And I did it until I was 19. And at 19, I got to the lowest point of my life. I was with someone that was really bad for me. I had started smoking crack cocaine. I remember I had got arrested. And the day I got arrested, someone had wrote me 2 checks that were stolen. They wrote it out to me. And I wasn't thinking. I was so high. Like, hey, go cash these checks for me. Write them out. I can't go cash them myself, and I'll give you some money. And I wanted to get high. I was like, sure. The first check, I went to the bank, no problem, went through. And then after that, the first time, we went and got some more crack. And I remember I took a hit of the crack, and everything went black. It was like, whoa, whoa. And I felt my heart slowing down. And at that moment, I knew I was dying. I was like, God. I said, God, please save me. Like, please, I don't want to die. Please save me. I was crying, and the guy I was dating at the time, he was like, he came in the room at that time. He was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm dying. So he calms me down. 15 minutes, I'm fine again. So then we take the second check, the only other check I had, to another bank. And they're like, okay, hold on a second. I already put my fingerprint on it. I already signed it. I was, trying to cash it. And they kept stalling me. And I was like, I knew something was up. And so the guy I was with came inside. He's like, we gotta go. And I was like, no. I just said, no, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I knew I got arrested. I mean, they came up with squad cars, dogs, a big old binder from the fraud unit, and I only had to cash 2 of these checks. It wasn't like I did this every week. This was the first time I had done this. Now, I had a bank account. I had wrote some bad checks in my name, but it was nothing of that kind of criminal scale. So, but big crazy mess. Needless to say, I got sent to prison a year and a day in the Florida Department of Corrections, not jail, not county jail. I went to prison, and it saved my life. I got my GED. I was in a rehabilitation program, and I'm sorry about my voice, I'm sick. I got web design technology certificate, desktop publishing. I had scored the highest GED grade that compound had ever seen, and I was in a prison for the youthful day offenders. Anyone over 21, it's like a boot camp facility. But they had boot camp, then they had the youthful day. Youthful day is one step up from boot camp. It's not as strict as the boot camp was for younger people, but you still had to march, you had to do PT, you had to make your bed right, you had all the stuff you had to do. So, and it saved my life. Okay, so I'm still stuffing this down. I had talked to a counselor. I had started dealing with the stuff my dad had done to me. I started dealing with, the death of my brother. Of course, when I was 15, I started drinking a lot. I was dating guys. I was with one of my friends. Now, we was a group of 4 of us. One was gone somewhere, and the other one was out of town. Well, me and my other one, the other friend, the second one, there's 4, I don't want to use names. She was like, she wanted to go hang out with the brother of the boyfriend of the girl that was out of town, our friend. And she wanted to go hang out with him because she really liked him. I was like, okay. And so I knew the boyfriend of the other girl, one of my best friends. I didn't think nothing would ever happen. So we're sitting there, we're drinking and whatever. And I got a good buzz going, not thinking nothing of it. And this is the time I had started smoking Black & Milds. I smoked Black & Milds before I ever smoked cigarettes. And so my friend and the brother that she liked were there, and they're talking. They're just having a good time. They weren't doing anything. And I go out to the back porch to get some fresh air. And my best friend's boyfriend's sitting out there smoking a Black & Mild. He's like, you want to hit this? I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't think nothing of it. I took a hit of that thing, and I passed out. I remember they had mountain bikes, a couple mountain bikes sitting by the sliding glass door. I fell. I remember falling onto those and just being picked up. I don't remember nothing else. My friend later told me she was screaming, banging on the door. I remember vaguely him raping me. And even though I had drank and I was a little wild in that sense, I had not given up my virginity, because no matter, my dad molested me for 13 years. He never, I don't know why, but he never took that from me. He did a lot of things to me, but he had never taken that from me, that one thing. And so